Are there certain people in this community that are afraid to report on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively? Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I'm Andy Signore. And oh my God, look at this panel. We've had an amazing charity stream, but sadly, if I call it charity stream, you guys don't tune in. So I've come up with a better topic that we're all going to talk about as we were wrapping up this show. I'll put the full charity stream for free down below in an unlisted link pinned down below. You should watch the whole stream. We had so many guest stars. We still have an amazing turnout. Elsrich is here. Ashley is here. Melanie's here. And on the phone, we got Leanne Newton, who's been amazing online threads, and CJ, citizen journalist. They're all here. We had Zach and so many others. But Melanie, you and I were talking. I thought, you know what? Let's trim this because this is a good topic. We all united here for a good cause. Elsrich is helping orphanages out in Ghana, and we're raising funds to save the kid pools. And oh my gosh, the audience, you stepped up like crazy. You still have time as we're wrapping up our show. Now's your chance. Buy some stuff for the kids out there in Ghana. They need it. Come on, dude. This is like $5 to buy them a coloring book. You can afford it, please. Unlike Ryan, who's out there making his kids curse, we're trying to do good and help the kids of Ghana and the orphanages. So help us out. You got some more time. Get over there. But Melanie, we were talking. You brought up a good question, comparing this sort of the Depp trial. Why aren't certain law tubers and other agencies, are they talking about this as much as they did? And I'm noticing they aren't. I'm also noticing that certain law tubers, and I'm not trying to throw shade, don't assume who I'm talking about. Let's speak broadly because I don't like to bash other creators, but I think it's an interesting topic. And then I've seen some of these creators are friends with Ryan or being followed by Ryan, or maybe they're in the same agency as Ryan, etc. And that does bring together the question of sort of what's going on. Melanie, you were about to talk, but are you noticing that? Are you surprised to see that with this Justin case, there's still a fear to report on it based on the celebrity of Blake and Ryan?
I am. I'm actually quite surprised, and I will say I'm disappointed. And it's not because I'm throwing shade at anyone or anything like that, but I feel as though the majority of us are not attorneys, and we could use their input. We could use different legal analysis. That was one of my favorite things that was happening during the Depp versus Heard trial. And it was just so much fun just seeing, they even did collaborations. I was seeing different lawyers come together to do these different things. And it's just, I don't know, it's just been really weird in a silence. And when you juxtapose that to the mainstream media calling anyone who's covering this as misogynistic and far right, trying to pipeline people into MAGA or whatever like that, which this is not. No one cares about politics. No one cares about politics. We're all kind of united to talk about justice for Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and everyone involved. But what I noticed, which is crazy, is that a lot of LawTube is actually conservative. They are actually Republican or Republican adjacent, or that's where they lean, or they've defended. I've seen them do things to defend Trump, or I've watched different videos they've done where they are kind of on the conservative side. So, and they'll call out like they'll call Holly Weird out and all of these things. But then when it comes to this, I don't know, is it just no interest in it? There's a lot going on, in different cases, but this is I personally believe this is bigger than Depp versus Heard, because this was a husband and wife, battling out. But this has deep roots into Hollywood, into the media, the things that a lot of conservatives say they want to overturn. But then so it's like they're all quiet, and the conservative voices that have spoken up have been like Megyn Kelly or Candace Owens. And, a lot of people may not like them because they are heavily political. They're not like lawyers, but they have spoken up, but it hasn't risen up this crop of other people to do it. So it's weird. So I just wanted to point that out, that a lot of LawTube is conservative, guys, but they're not speaking on
that
it.
Shouldn't matter, right? I mean, I agree. This case is bigger in a way. I mean, I would argue Hollywood was trying to shut Depp down too. They were. There was a lot of powerful Hollywood players trying to keep Depp down, to be fair. But this is equally interesting, if not more so, given all the other people involved. But I mean, you're not wrong about politically, but I still feel like, who cares? Like, it's right or wrong. And in this case, as the evidence has come forward, we're seeing it. There was some support from the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and others. And now America Fair is like, maybe not. We're starting to see less and less vocal support. Brandon Sklenar was out there, you must read this and stand by. And now it's suddenly like, I don't, who? Blake who? I don't know. I'm just trying to promote my movies, scumbag. Spineless, disloyal piece of crap. I don't like that guy. But we're seeing less and less people support, which I think speaks volumes. But I said it earlier,
And the
I'll say it again.
brother-in-law.
Yeah, on this topic though, it just a heads up. So it's in the clipped version. Our documentaries facing the same problem. There's a lot of streamers who are buying documentaries on this topic, but they want them to be fair, and they don't really want the truth to be in it. And then because ours is going more in the truth, and because of that seems to lean more Justin, there are streamers that won't touch it. They're like afraid to even talk to us or put it out there. So if a streamer does step up, we will let you know and then support them like crazy, because good on them for actually putting it out there. We're still working on it. It'll be on Patreon first, of course, but we want to try to give it a broader audience. And it's fascinating because I see so many other streamers doing this topic and they're all afraid to actually cover it fairly. And that might mean leaning one way or the other. Eldridge, what do you think about all this? Do you think there's people in this space still afraid or just covering it not fairly?
I think everything Melanie said, add a lot of, baking soda, baking powder, bake it, double it. And I believe I echo that, everything you said. But one thing I told Melanie yesterday, all you need to know who is right and who's wrong is the accused is on vacation. The accuser is selling donuts, trying to buy good karma. Why? Why are you doing so much to try to convince us you're a good person? Justin literally packed his bags and went to Hawaii and is like, let go and let God. Like literally God will fight my battles for me in a way. And quite literally, he summoned us by the thousands, by the numbers. And you, Blake, you're the accused and you're fighting for your life in these streets. You're trying to convince me you're a good person by throwing your blonde hair over some donuts and breaking federal regulations and getting this donut place in trouble.
Because anybody who doesn't use a hairnet over the donuts is a red flag city. I agree.
And then when you're found in trouble, like Melanie pulled up that article yesterday, her people literally came out and said, well, it's not Blake's job to make sure she's wearing a hairnet. It's the donut shop's owner's job to make sure they tell Blake to wear it. I'm like, wait, are you throwing the donut shop under the bus? You just left there this weekend. So again, I don't need to look far. And again, I feel like there is enough of us telling the truth. There's enough of us being honest. And I actually got in contact with this lawyer on TikTok. She's so good, but she only has 500 followers. It's so frustrating. And she's an actual entertainment and employment lawyer in California. Her name is Little Girl Lawyer because she's so little. But I got in touch with her, and what we're going to do in the weeks coming forward, if you guys are interested, pick parts of the case that are super confusing for people to understand. And we're just going to try to do like 10-minute segments to explain it, because she's a lawyer and we know I'm a fake one, but she's like a legit one in California who knows California law, because I don't know how people are confused. Like this is, I feel like as complicated as it is so basic. All you have to do is just listen and you will not be confused. But somehow people are making this very confused to understand. So I don't know if people are purposefully being unfair or not trying to cover, but there's no ifs and buts about it.
It's just frustrating. I'm coming to you, Ashley, next, but it's just interesting because there was one lawyer who sort of seemingly supported Blake, is what it seemed like. But the reality is, I've talked to this. She's trying to get her in the dock. She was almost going to be in the dock, but didn't. She wasn't Team Blake. She just was being objective and sort of explained one angle of it. But it was clear that Blake Lively's team just lunged at it and put it all over every outlet of like, well, there's actually, Blake has a stronger case. And what I found most interesting is like, this literally the only one who ever said anything positive. As someone who's really talking to the experts and the lawyers, and we've had some on the show too to try to explain it, it is very clear cut. All of the neutral experts we talked to are like, yeah, no, it's definitely leaning towards Justin now. Actually, we talked about this earlier, but the lack of surprise of just no evidence from Blake's side still ringing the same bells over and over again. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the reality with it at this point, especially with my background in marketing and SEO and media control and all of that, I don't even think her team cares at this point. They're not trying to convince us anymore, is the reality of the situation. They don't care. I just said this on my stream this morning. When we look at statistics and when I work with clients looking at statistics, the reality is that they're focusing on SEO manipulation for Google because that's where the vast majority, it's over 90% of people are still getting their news. And when we look at the slant on what's going on in Google, well, Vogue, Glamour, GQ, Allure, all these magazines are actually owned by Condé Nast. And so you see these magazines that are afraid to upset WME ultimately because they don't want to be cut off from all the talent there.
Yep.
So I genuinely don't think her team cares at this point. The more I think about it and hear everyone's perspectives, I don't think they care that there's no evidence. They're just focused on Google. They're focused on these legacy publications that they can sway because they don't want to upset WME. And they're like, let's just get the public on our side. Forget about the YouTubers, forget about all these people on social media. And I've seen that in real time because Ryan created, I don't know if you heard about this, Andy, he created this photoshopped image from Kingston, Ontario. And it was very bizarre. He was here, well, I think promoting Hollywood North, which is what he's creating. And he had created this fake photoshopped image to show him at this location in Kingston. And he created all these sock puppet accounts to go into the Kingston Facebook community page. People love him. No one knows what's going on. Everyone in the group was like, oh my gosh, it's Ryan Reynolds in town and he's amazing and he's hilarious and I love him. And those were real accounts. He had his sock puppet accounts in there controlling the narrative from his perspective, but people had no idea what's going on. Absolutely no idea. And they were so excited he was here, so excited about Hollywood North. So I genuinely think at this point, her team just doesn't even care. They're like, whatever, we'll just focus on the public.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the reality of it. And it's both sides are doing the publicity lawsuits is really what this has become. Yep. I mean, Justin has every right to, given what the accusations that have been leveled against him are. But this idea that Ryan and Blake keep throwing, and Leanne, I want to go to you. Leanne's been on the stream as well. But from your legal perspective, like, are you as frustrated that Blake and Ryan seem to constantly be labeling Justin as doing this PR? It's all for PR when they're clearly doing the same tactics that they're accusing him of.
Yeah, it's absolutely really frustrating. It's very hypocritical, and I sometimes wonder how they write their letters or go into conferences with Judge Lyman and sort of complain about the PR from the Wayfarer side with a straight face. It's I mean, clearly it is all for PR. I think that's why this entire thing started in the first place. I don't think there's ever an intention to see through, an entire lawsuit.
Yeah, as you said too, it most likely also gonna go straight through and not settled because they're so stuck in their way. Yeah. I want to get CJ in as we're wrapping up and give everyone thoughts to talk. But CJ, you've been out there keeping these threads. I mean, are you surprised? You really kept your finger on the pulse of sort of following everybody out there. Are you surprised to see, like we were saying earlier, some folks just afraid to sort of pick a side, or have you noticed the opposite of that?
I do think that there is a lot of fear of speaking on Ryan Reynolds, especially for some smaller creators. So I really do admire some of the creators that do speak up about a lot of this, because when you break it all down, Ryan Reynolds is connected to WME that pretty much controls a lot of different things. And there's a lot of people, that say, well, Baldoni's the more powerful one. He's got Zarowitz. But as far as the bigger picture, Reynolds has a lot more people behind him, I think, with Ari and all that stuff. That I know that when I found the journalist that had the Freakonomics podcast, I didn't know what to do with it because I felt like I'm a small creator. Their team's going to eat me alive with this. So
that was Ari Emanuel on tape, seemingly after he made everyone delete it. You guys caught it. It was wild.
So shout out to Colonel Kurtz, who's been, really helpful guiding me as a small creator. And, she's worked a lot of videos with the Me Too movement and all that stuff. She's very, very brave woman there. She was at the protests with Blake Lively as well. And so she was able to, break that story. And but I do think that if it wasn't for brave creators like her, Melanie King, Elsric too, who, her and her sleuths and all that, we wouldn't have as much information out there because they're brave enough to report on it. And I honestly started as more of like entertainment, the LOLs and the GIFs threads. And then it started to get more serious, with the Inez Reynolds stuff and all these things. But there is a fear. I mean, I still do, as a small creator, have a fear of reporting on certain things or certain names and stuff like that. Just because, you know, you never know. We have Zach Peters this morning had someone impersonating him on TikTok, as well as Dave Neal. So you're getting a lot of weird things that are happening. I know Melanie King's stream was either muted or something, Eldrick. So yeah, on that point of why there's not more people speaking up, it could be because, you know, they don't want the hit in the algorithm, or they're just afraid to speak up because of the powerful people surrounding Reynolds and Lively.
Yeah, it's scary times out there for sure, but the brave ones are doing it, and that's why we're all here. We united today, and we also did it for common good, which was to save the kids pool, because as CJ just brought up, yeah, it's really weird what he made his kid do as kid pool. So let's do the right thing, and that's donate to the orphanages in Ghana. Thanks to Elsrich, who has been with this for a while. Look at you back in high school, bringing your friends.
Please don't
for your
do it
birthday
again. I mean, that was cute though. I've always been cute.
You look great, and you guys look awesome, and you're doing the right work. And so you still can. I'll pin this wish list in the comments down below, along with the link to the full stream. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm just trying to condense it so more of you got enticed to click, and hopefully then go watch a charity stream, because it's annoying. You got to still click, you know, market. It's all marketing. And this was a very worthy stream where we had a lot of people tuning in. So thanks to everybody who showed up. Thanks to everybody who's still here. Thanks to everybody who watched. We're going to wrap up, but I'm just tightening this up for the replay. So stay tuned and support all these amazing people that are in the link. Go down to the pinned comment to watch the full stream and how to donate, people. Bye. Yes, I nub you all.
I nub you all.
Thanks all for the birthday wishes. I appreciate it.